Hi everyone, it's Dawn, your pop culture boy. Today I want to talk about something big, the downfall of the music industry. It's not just music. Industries like retail and fast food are also struggling. But with music, it's especially noticeable. And honestly, I'm here for it. Let me explain why this collapse might be the best thing that could happen. The decline of music as we knew it. Music used to be something we truly enjoyed. It was an art form that brought people together, not just a product. But over the years, it became so commercialized that the magic started to fade. The standards dropped, and it feels like the industry began to care more about profits than quality. As a result, many people have lost interest in supporting modern music. This shift isn't a surprise, though. The internet and social media have pulled back the curtain, revealing the secrets and false images the industry once relied on. Every year, we see the music business for what it really is, just another grind, like any other 9-to-5 job. Why this collapse could be a good thing. Back in the 2000s, the so-called music crash hit, when physical album sales plummeted. At the time, we were told this was a disaster, but looking back, I think it was actually a blessing. It marked the beginning of the end for the old ways of doing things. Streaming changed the game, making music more accessible, but also exposing the industry's flaws. While it may seem bad on the surface, the truth is that it's forcing the industry to evolve, and that's a good thing. Lavish lifestyles and the reality of today. Let's take a trip down memory lane. In the 90s and early 2000s, artists lived the high life. Big parties, expensive cars, and luxurious mansions. It seemed like the dream. Record labels had massive budgets, and artists made fortunes from album sales. But when physical album sales started to crash, the money dried up. Entire departments at record labels were shut down, and many artists faded into obscurity. Even big names like Diddy had to find other ways to stay relevant. That's why he turned to reality TV with Making the Band. Not because he cared about discovering talent, but because it was a smart way to make money during a tough time. Streaming, a blessing and a curse. Artists, streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music have changed how we listen to music. For fans, it's amazing. You can listen to almost any song for just a few bucks a month or even for free. But for artists, it's a nightmare. The money they earn from streaming is a fraction of what they used to make from album sales. For example, Beyoncé's groundbreaking album Lemonade made waves in 2016. Yet, out of the $62 million she earned that year, only a small portion, $4.3 million, came from music sales and streaming combined. If even Beyoncé isn't making much from streaming, imagine how tough it is for smaller artists. Why albums are dying. Given how little money music brings in, record labels are focusing their efforts on a few big-name artists. For most musicians, making an album just isn't worth it anymore. Instead, they release singles or EPs, which are cheaper to produce. Producing an album is incredibly expensive. From studio time to paying engineers, producers, and lawyers, the costs add up fast. For example, a 12-hour studio session can cost $1,200, and that's just the beginning. By the time an artist finishes an album, they've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that's before marketing, music videos, or live appearances. For many, it's simply not feasible. The shift to social media and streaming platforms. The decline of the industry's traditional income streams has pushed artists and celebrities to explore new ways of staying relevant. These days, you'll find big names doing things you never would have seen 10 or 15 years ago. Take YouTube, for example. In the past, celebrities avoided it because it seemed too cheap compared to TV or magazines. But now, even Hollywood stars like Will Smith have embraced social media, becoming full-blown influencers. Musicians like T-Pain have turned to streaming platforms, connecting directly with fans. Even major rappers like Nicki Minaj and Offset have started appearing on Twitch streams to promote their work. This shift shows how much the entertainment landscape has changed. The money isn't what it used to be, so artists are finding new ways to connect with audiences, and in many cases, they're becoming more relatable as a result. The short lifespan of today's hits. Another major change is how quickly songs rise and fall on the charts. In the past, a hit song could dominate the airwaves for months. Now, it's common for a song to debut at number 1 and drop out of the top 10 within weeks. This constant churn makes it harder for artists to build lasting careers. But it also reflects a larger trend. Fans are no longer tied to the traditional music industry. With so many options available, listeners can explore niche genres, independent artists, and international acts like never before. The bright side of the collapse. While the industry's decline might seem depressing, there is a silver lining. The old system was built on exclusivity and gatekeeping. Only a few artists had the resources to succeed, and record labels controlled everything. Now, the internet has leveled the playing field. Anyone can record music, upload it online, and reach a global audience. While it's still challenging to make a living, artists have more freedom than ever to create the music they want. The collapse of the traditional industry is paving the way for a new era of creativity and innovation, and that means more music for me and for you, because today the music sector is more than just a business. Final thoughts. The music industry as we knew it is crumbling, but that's not a bad thing. It's a chance for change. Artists are finding new ways to connect with fans, and the barriers that once held people back are disappearing. Sure, it's not perfect, but maybe, just maybe, the best days of music are still ahead of us. The music industry today feels like it's struggling to keep up with its own hype. Songs, even great ones, don't dominate the charts like they used to. Take pop icon Ariana Grande as an example. Earlier this year, one of her tracks debuted at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, which is a huge achievement. But it only held that spot for a single week. Sure, the song went platinum eventually, but it didn't sell as much as her previous number 1 hits. Another one of her songs stayed at the top for 2 weeks, but that's still not the same level of success she used to enjoy. It's not just Ariana. Megan Thee Stallion's track, which was one of the most talked about diss tracks of the year, also only managed a single week at the top. Kanye West's song Carnival was another 1-week wonder. Even Beyoncé's Texas Hold'em held the top spot for just 2 weeks. Taylor Swift, arguably the biggest artist right now, saw her track Fortnite spend only 2 weeks at number 1. Rising star Sabrina Carpenter had her breakthrough with a song that lasted a week at number 1, with fans jokingly calling it grand opening, grand closing. What's happening here? A big reason could be the way music is consumed now. Streaming has completely changed the game. Back in the day, physical album sales were a key metric. Some artists even bought their own records to give away at events to boost sales figures. Today, streams dominate, and they can be manipulated. For instance, Spotify reportedly removed 3 million streams from Megan Thee Stallion's last album due to suspicious activity. She's not alone. Major artists like Kanye West, Travis Scott, and Don Toliver have also faced accusations of inflating their streaming numbers. Travis Scott even sparked drama when he thought his album had a significant lead over Sabrina Carpenter's for the number 1 spot. When Sabrina unexpectedly claimed the top position, Travis accused Billboard of mishandling sales data. Ironically, his album then suffered a 97% decline on the Billboard 200 the following week, marking one of the steepest drops in recent history. Streaming has exposed some harsh truths about the music industry. Ice Spice, another rising star, is a perfect example. Her career exploded thanks to platforms like TikTok and Spotify. However, when Universal Music pulled its catalog from TikTok earlier this year, Ice Spice's monthly listeners dropped dramatically, from 40 million to 17 million in less than a year. Fans often argue about who has the most Spotify listeners, but that number doesn't always translate to sustained success. For instance, Celine Dion currently has more monthly listeners than Ice Spice, but that doesn't mean their careers are comparable. Money from streaming also isn't as impressive as it seems. Snoop Dogg revealed he made less than $45,000 from 1 billion streams. That's hardly enough to sustain a lavish lifestyle. On top of that, Spotify has been cracking down on bots, removing artists with suspicious streaming activity, even those with fewer than 1,000 streams. Because of these challenges, music has become more of a gateway to other, more lucrative ventures. Cardi B, for example, turned to platforms like OnlyFans, reportedly making over $40 million without releasing a new album. Rihanna shifted her focus to her Fenty brand, becoming a billionaire in the process. Even Beyoncé has diversified, launching a hair care line and a liquor brand. These ventures highlight how little profit music generates for even the biggest names. Re-releases and deluxe editions have also become commonplace. Travis Scott recently re-released his mixtape Days Before Rodeo nearly a decade after its initial release. Childish Gambino revamped his 2020 album with new tracks and a fresh title. Taylor Swift has been re-recording and re-releasing her old album since 2021, a move driven partly by the industry's challenges. Selling music catalogs has also become a trend. Artists like Shakira, Katy Perry, and even Justin Bieber have sold the rights to their entire catalogs. Bieber, shockingly, made this move before turning 30. It's a sign that many artists see music as a short-term hustle rather than a lifelong career. Sadly, some artists resort to more dangerous paths. Juice WRLD, for example, allegedly dealt with drugs to supplement his income. His tragic death in 2019 highlighted the dark side of the industry. He passed away from an accidental overdose after trying to hide pills from authorities. Stories like his paint a grim picture of how unsustainable music can be for some artists. The industry's cracks are becoming more apparent as fans grow more skeptical about where their money is going. Many now believe the commodification of music, treating it purely as a product, characteristics of harmful and damaging music. Treating, bots, and marketing tricks have made success feel manufactured. Music should belong to everyone, but the focus on profits is bringing the industry to a breaking point. What do you think about all this? Let me know in the comments. I'm Dawn, your pop culture guide, and I'll catch you in the next one.